Although many think that the reboot has been cancelled, the reality is that we have had no official word directly from Hasbro. This means that everything that has been talked about are only rumors and not something official. In addition to this, we must remember that since 2023 there had already been talk that the year 2024 was going to be a moment of pause for the franchise, and this did not have a definite time. All this lets us know that the reboot may still be a possibility, but at the same time it is not known the exact date of the premiere or if they have even started working on any new project. I say this because even though the news of the cancellation are only rumors, the reality is that those who were going to be the producers of that famous reboot have deleted all information about Power Rangers from their websites. With this we can understand that the reboot will no longer be with those producers who have been working on that project for some years, but it does not mean that the reboot has been cancelled. Even, the rumor that had been talked about previously was that Hasbro was no longer going to work with Netflix, since it had been said for a long time that the new Power Rangers universe was going to be released on that platform. Although all this may leave a bad taste in our mouths, the reality is that we can't take it as bad news if this rumor were true, since Netflix is not the only platform to work on a series and movie project. Right now, there are other platforms that have excellent resources to work on a project like Power Rangers, and although we can admit that Netflix is the leading platform, the reality is that it is not the only one. Even, the Transformers franchise, which also belongs to Hasbro, have always worked with Paramount, and we have already seen that they have achieved an excellent job. Despite all this, there is still the other question: if the rumor of the cancellation were true, then it is not known if the vision of the project will be the same, even if they work with other people. The vision of the reboot, since it was announced, was to create a darker universe with connected movies and series that were aimed for an audience that was older than 14 years of age. In this project we were going to see a radical change from what we know of Power Rangers, and that is why they stopped the series we have known for a lifetime. Possibly this was done so that Power Rangers would not have two universes being published at the same time, and so many parents would not be confused. This would have brought problems, because if parents got confused and played Power Rangers from the reboot to their children under the age of 14, then those children would be exposed to material that is not suitable for them. Another reason could have been for money reasons, since being able to maintain two universes at the same time was going to be very complicated, plus the old universe was no longer generating as much money and the new universe was going to need a riskier investment. We fans understand that Hasbro may not have a clear vision of what they want to do with the Power Rangers franchise, but we fans know what they should do. Although opinions are a bit divided, the reality is that the reboot option is the one that always gets the most votes, and that's because many of us are adults now. The Power Rangers reboot should change a lot of things, and there are other things that should remain intact. We are going to mention all these things in order to have a clear vision of what the reboot should be, and hopefully one day Hasbro can understand all these things so that we fans can have what we have wanted for a long time. The first thing they should change is the costumes, and it is very obvious that, in a series dedicated for a more mature audience, the Rangers can't keep having such simple costumes. However, the helmets are something that should remain the same, since Power Rangers have always had awesome helmets and they are still something iconic. Another thing they should change is the villains, something we have always seen that only scares little kids, as these monsters are created with pretty ridiculous costumes. There are very few villains that look spectacular and are quite scary, but we must also accept that not all villains should look scary. Let's talk about the White Ranger, and that is that throughout the history of Power Rangers we have seen that Rangers of this color have always been very special to fans. This may be due to the meaning that the first White Ranger of the franchise had, since its power comes from the white light of good, and this causes that this ranger cannot be corrupted, that is, he cannot become a villain. That ranger also cannot be bewitched to transform him into an evil being, and perhaps all this history caused the White Rangers to become something special for the fans. Obviously, this doesn't mean that all White Rangers have the same power of the white light of good, it just means that fans started to love the color white because of that first event with Tommy. All this history, they should take advantage of it in the reboot, since using a White Ranger to be the main character of the first series or movie could be the best idea, and maybe this can help to minimize the risk of failure. Even, in that same channel we have a series that we have created in which we included a female ranger that uses the color white, and that was one of the most viewed videos of that new series. With this we were able to confirm that the fans love the rangers that use the color white, and that is why they could create a story with a ranger that uses this color. To give you an example, the story could be of this being from another universe who has been assigned by higher beings to protect the Earth, and although many have thought that the Earth is a peaceful place, this is actually going to change. In the course of his life, he begins to notice that there are evil beings who want to conquer the Earth to enslave humans, and this is why he must use the power of the white light to choose a human to become a Power Ranger to defend the Earth. This white light can choose the right human to fill him with power, and because of this it chooses a man who has a noble heart. This man becomes the first Ranger of the Earth, the new protector and the first White Ranger. This ranger can have the same details that Tommy had, a ranger that cannot be corrupted because of that power of the white light of good. Despite having a great power, the villains who try to conquer the Earth are very powerful, and this is why the mentor of the White Ranger must choose other humans to form a team of Power Rangers. In this way they create the first Power Rangers team with 5 members, and the colors can be varied. This is a good example of a story they can create for the reboot using one of the most important colors in the history of the franchise. Another thing is that this story should include beings from other planets, travels through the multiverse, magic, and lots of action. Obviously all this should be part of the story, but the main thing should be the drama, because even though Power Rangers has always been filled with lots of action, a story for a more mature audience should be centered on drama. What has made superhero stories successful for many years has been to have a deep drama in which the characters can be well developed so that these heroes can connect with the audience. In fact, the best stories are those that delve into the life of the villain to better understand the intentions of this character and thus have an emotional struggle within us. The best way to recognize a good story is when you begin to love the villain even though you know he is evil, but because of the connection you have created with the character, you feel that he is not really that bad. Write in the comments the story that the reboot should have, like this video and subscribe to wait for the Power Rangers reboot.